Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another Instant Deck Tech. So Thursday means it's Fishbowl Thursday, and this week we have a first on Fishbowl Thursday. We're going to be looking at a legacy deck. This is a deck going by the name Teferi's Vapors. Comes from James D.B. So thank you, James, for submitting a really cool deck. So I will tell you, going into this one, I think this deck is a little rough around the edges, but it has such a unique combo that I had to show it off. So taking infinite turns is a pretty time-tested way of winning games of Magic. There's several combos built around taking infinite turns. The unique thing about this combo is it's the exact opposite. Instead of taking infinite turns, we are trying to skip roughly an infinite number of turns and use the turn skipping to actually win the game. So anyway, a quick reminder before we break down Teferi's Vapors for Legacy. If you enjoy this deck and you want to see it made into videos with some upgrades and changes, I'm sure, take a minute, click the like button, the subscribe button, leave a comment, anything you can do to support your deck, because whichever deck is most popular gets a shot at being made into videos next week. So the main idea of this deck is to use Teferi's Protection as a game-winning 2-card combo piece. So if you're not familiar with the Commander Rare, it's a 3-mana instant, and it says, until your next turn, your life total can't change. You have protection from everything, and all permanents you control phase out, and then Teferi's Protection gets exiled. So normally, you think of this card kind of like an Angel's Grace type effect. Basically, you can't die this turn, you can't have your life total change this turn, your permanents can't get hurt this turn, it just saves you in all your stuff for a turn. However, what if we kind of abuse the fact that Teferi's Protection says until your next turn by not taking turns for a while. So the idea of this combo is we are going to get down a Lethal Vapors 4-mana enchantment. Says whenever a creature comes into play, destroy it. But any player can pay 0 and skip their next turn to destroy Lethal Vapors. So the idea is we're going to play a Lethal Vapors. We're going to activate it with the trigger on the stack roughly, let's say 100 times, which means we're going to skip our next 100 turns. 100 turns skipped. That would normally be really devastating, but what if we also resolve a Teferi's Protection that same turn? So we don't take our next turn until after our opponent takes 100 turns, which means for our opponent's next 100 turns, they can't harm us. We have protection from everything. They can't target us. Our life total can't change. Basically, we can't die. So our opponent's going to take 100 turns. They're going to play a bunch of stuff. They're probably going to do some things and cast some spells and whatever they're doing, but we can't die for those 100 turns, and by turn like 40 or 50 or whatever, our opponent's going to go through their entire deck and mill themselves out. So that is the plan of the deck, is our opponent just can't kill us because we have Teferi's Protection, and we aren't going to take a turn for a long time. So our opponent can cast all their stuff and Goldfish and do whatever they want, but it can't harm us, and eventually they're just going to play through their entire deck, and that'll be the end of the game. So a really super unique idea for a combo, taking the opposite of infinite turns, skipping infinite turns rather than taking infinite turns. So the rest of the deck, we got Brainstorm and Ponders, typical legacy cantrips to help us cycle through our deck, find our combo pieces, get things set up. We have a bunch of protection, Spell Pierce, cheap way to interact, make sure we resolve our protection, resolve our Lethal Vapors. Force of Will can do all that for free. Summary Dismissal, not really sold on that one. Don't usually see it in legacy. In theory, it's an answer to a whole stack full of storm triggers or something like that, but it is 4 mana, which is kind of a lot for a legacy deck. Maybe a little bit too slow, but I don't know, maybe it's worth testing. We also have some creature removal, Fatal Push for the early game, Swords to Plowshares, just getting rid of whatever our creatures our opponent might play, making sure we live long enough to get down our Lethal Vapors, resolve our Teferi's response. Thoughtseize attacks our opponent's hand. Surgical Extraction is worth pointing out is being very important because our plan of giving our opponent infinite turns by skipping infinite turns has one major flaw, and that is if we run into an Emrakul deck, we're still going to lose. Because our opponent, what they'll do during the 100 turns that we skip is they'll just draw their cards, play their game, get their stuff set up. Eventually, they'll just start discarding Emrakuls to hand size to shuffle their graveyard back into their library. Surgical Extraction puts an end to that plan. Let's say we skip 200 turns times, if we're in an Emrakul matchup, when our opponent goes to discard their Emrakul to hand size, we can surgically extract the Emrakul, get rid of the Emrakul forever to make sure our opponent can't just keep shuffling their graveyard into their library again and again and again and again and getting around our combo. So that's why we have the main deck surgical extractions. Otherwise, we have some Snapcasters just for general value. We can use Teferi's response just to stay alive for a while we're setting up our lethal vapors. Snapcaster lets us replay our removal, kind of stall out the game, re-Thoughtseize, re-counter, and just keep reusing our stuff while we're waiting to get our combo set up. And Hope of Gurupur, as our final creature, gives us a way to resolve our Teferi's response or our lethal vapors without worrying about our opponent's counter spells or Force of Wills, anything like that that could interact with us at instant speed. We just attack with it, sack it, our opponent can't cast non-creature spells, gives us a time to combo off during our second main phase. So I don't know if it's completely necessary, but it's a unique idea for forcing through our combo. Like I said, I feel like this deck has a really cool, unique combo that I really wanted to show off. I do feel like it's a little rough around the edges and can probably use some tuning, but the idea is super sweet. Mana base wise, bunch of fetch lands, searching up original dual lands and some basic lands. No sideboard for this one. Insert whatever sideboard cards you feel are best. Probably more surgical extractions would be a big one, some more counters, specific hate cards for matchups. Anyway, that's Teferi's Vapors for Legacy, and that's our Fishbowl Thursday instant deck tech for this week. So again, thanks to James D.B for sending in the deck. If you want to send in your own Fishbowl Thursday decks for consideration, Saffron Olive at mtggoldfish.com, or you can leave them right here in the comments to the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, help us out by clicking that like button down below. And to keep up on all the latest and greatest, click that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get alerts whenever we have new videos. And if you want to, check out some of our other sweet videos here and here.